Howdy, welcome back. So today we're going to be comparing the accuracy of cap and ball revolvers fired with their traditional black powder components to the accuracy they can achieve with cartridge conversion cylinders. I get a lot of questions asking me which is more accurate. So today we're just going to do a quick evaluation of this Remington. They call it the Sheriff model. It's an 1858, quote 1858, new model Army with a 5-inch barrel. Might be 5.5, I'm not sure. This is the more accurate of the Remingtons that I have, and it's the one that works best with this cartridge conversion. This is the Howell/R&D/Taylor's 45 Colt cartridge conversion. You can see my other videos for that if you want. And this is a Pietta. This is a Pietta as well. So this is the Pietta Quote 44 Navy. So it's got the Navy style and size grip frame, but with the Army style cylinder, and then this whole assembly is upsized in a non-historical fashion for 44 caliber. Anyway, it's fun to shoot, whether or not it's historically accurate, and this is the similar cartridge conversion in 45 Colt for it. So you have to take the barrel assembly off to load the cartridge into the revolver for that one. But otherwise, let's shoot them. I'm not a great target shooter. I don't particularly like shooting from the bench, but I will do it for you guys. So we'll do what we can. I'm just gonna shoot from 15 yards. I'll show you my setup here real quick. I got a big piece of cardboard and spray painted some wedges on it that can get a fine point, aiming point at the bottom of the triangles. And we'll shoot some cartridges first, and then we'll shoot some black powder loads and see if we can determine whether one is notably accurate than the other. Now this might look like a fairly sketchy setup, and it may be, but it is also remarkably stable. These containers are full of lead, so it's pretty stable. It's about as stable as any of the pistol rests I've used, so we'll see how this goes. I'm not a great shooter from the bench, but I can get a pretty good sight picture. This first one is my reloads. Let's try another load. So to unload these, just remove the cylinder like you normally would. And then you remove the rear cap. Sometimes the brass will just fall out, like that one did. And then the others, you have to use something to punch them out. So that first group with my reloads was pretty encouraging. They were all in the black triangle near the top in about a 2 to 2.5 inch group. So let's try some. We're gonna try these HSM cowboy loads. I don't have a wide variety of 45 Colt factory ammo. I only have 2 to try. So we're gonna try these. They've been pretty inconsistent in recoil in my experience, but I'll try to raise the muzzle fully before each shot to make sure the powder is back. We'll see how they do. I'm not gonna make you watch me shoot all of the groups, but I'll show you the results. So those HSMs were very light. They felt like 38 specials about. And from here, it looks like at least 2 of them are not in the black, but the group might be better. We'll have to measure it afterwards. So I thought maybe someone would be interested in seeing the silver tips These are 225 grain jacketed hollow point Winchester silver tips. These are definitely not recommended for use in these cartridge conversions. Some say you can shoot any SAMI loads, and some say you should stick to lead only. But so I don't recommend that you do this, or neither will the cartridge manufacturer, the cartridge conversion manufacturer, condone this. So this is just one cylinder full for testing accuracy. Those are a little more stout. They're not painful, but they're not as light as those HSMs. Let's check them out. Okay, these are my reloads. Looks like about the same size for the HSMs. They're all having some left-right disbursement, and this is the silver tips. So I guess probably a little bit larger, maybe about 3 inches for that one. So based on one group, I would say that the lead cowboy loads are more accurate so far. Now this Colt with the conversion cylinder shoots pretty high, so hopefully I can get these on paper, but we'll see. I can get a pretty stable position here. There we go. These are my reloads for the first round. On the paper, so that's good, but it's about 6 inches above the target. Doesn't look great. And this one you have to pull out the wedge. So I'll video this. This is the HSM, just to demonstrate the lower, let's point the powder up, so that the powder, the muzzle up so the powder goes back. This is the HSM cowboy loads. Compare the recoil. Almost felt like a hang fire. Those definitely felt inconsistent, and group is worse than mine, so. All right, now for the fun part. The Colt with the black powder cylinder installed, and it's loaded with 30 grains of 3F GoX and a loop felt wad from Eastern Shooter Supply and Hornady 454 pure lead swaged balls and Remington number 10 caps. And from previous experience, the full 30 grain load has been fairly accurate, but we'll see how we do today. I'm gonna try a couple other loads after this to see if there's a demonstrable difference, but let's try the full 30 grain load with a loop felt wad, which is what I usually shoot. Well, it looks pretty good from here. We'll run down there real quick. Yeah. So far, it's looking like the black powder and with the balls is doing at least as good as the cartridge, if not better. Looks better to me. We'll measure it and see. I'm gonna try lubing over the balls with no wad for the next group, and then I'm gonna try 20 grains of powder with 10 grains of cream of wheat with no wad and lubing over the balls for the last one. See if there's a noticeable difference just with shooting one group each. All right, so now we've got 30 grains of FFG GoX, a 454 Hornady round ball, and then I've got Wonder Lube. Oh no, so actually this is boar butter on top without a wad. We'll see if these are any better. And one of the reasons I don't like that lube typically is because it gets everywhere. So it looks to me from here that the groups are pretty much the same, but we'll measure them. I'm gonna let the range vent. You probably can't tell in the video, but it's very difficult to actually see the target clearly now. So let the range vent, and then we'll try the load with cream of wheat and no lube felt wad. All right, so this is 20 grains of FFG, about 15 grains of corn, what is Balazs Niemat calls it corn wet. It's cream of wheat and a 454 ball, and then boar butter over the top. See if this demonstrates any superior accuracy to the other loads. It's noticeably lighter in recoil. All right. The camera sees through the smoke better than I do. Interestingly, you can see that these are tearing a little bit more than the other ones. They're going slower, obviously. The actual group size looks similar to the 30 grain load without a lube felt wad, but it's about the same, but it's nowhere near the accuracy of at least the group that I shot, the one group that I shot with the full 30 grain charge and lube felt wads. That's what I've experienced previously, is that's what this particular style of revolver prefers. They prefer the full loads, at least in my experience. All right, so this is the Remington with my standard 30 grains of 3F and a lubed felt wad and a 454 round ball. All righty. Let's just see these sights a little bit differently in this light. Let the range vent. Trigger on that one is not as good as the Colt. Got quite a bit of creep, but previously this Remington has proven pretty accurate, so we'll have to see. All right, so these are the 30 grain charges with the round ball and the lube over the top of the ball in the Remington. All right, I just shot the 20 grains of FFG and about 18 grains of cream of wheat with no lubed felt wad. I didn't make you watch me shoot at the group. That one looks actually okay compared to the 30 grains with no lubed felt wad. And this is the 30 grains with a lubed felt wad. So I'll measure those up and then we'll be done shooting this paper that's boring. So for you statisticians out there, I know that these are not scientifically or statistically significant results. I've only shot one group with each load, and that's all I'm gonna do. I don't like shooting from the bench. It's not particularly fun to me. But I think that there's enough information here to make a generalization, which is that for the Remington, at least, this is the best group with black powder and ball, and it is shot with 20 grains of 3F and about 18 grains of cream of wheat with no wad and a little bit of boar butter over the top. Those were very close to the mouth of the chamber. I had to really cram them in there. And there may be something to those people who say that that's how you get the most accuracy out of these, is to fill up the chamber as much as you can with cream of wheat with a lighter charge of powder and get the ball closer to the forcing cone. But the standard load, which is 30 grains of 3F, was within a tenth, really, or I guess 2/10. And this is consistently accurate for me. And I much prefer using lube felt wads rather than that messy, greasy, gooey lube that gets everywhere. And I hate that stuff. And it takes way longer to load. So, and both of those loads were better than, well, I guess the best load with the cylinder, the conversion cylinder, 45 Colt load for the Remington was the HSM, which was 2.2, basically 2.2 inch group, which is effectively the same as my pet load, which is 30 grains, and is, very close to the best load with cap and ball, which was just over 2 inches. So If I had more factory loads to try, maybe I could get that down, or maybe if I had better eyes. My reloads were, 2.2, just over 2.2 inches, which is pretty much exactly the same as my group with the black powder at cap and ball. So let's look at the Colt results. So with the Colt, quote unquote, 44 Navy Pietta, the best group of the day was definitely with powder and ball over a loop felt wad. So this is 30 grains, 3F Goex or loop felt wad. And that was a 1.42 inch group. The powder without the wad with lube over the ball was a 2.8. And the 20 grains of powder with 15 grains of cream of wheat with no lube felt wad and lube over the ball was a 2.4 inch group. So I probably would have to try to get that closer to the mouth of the cylinder, the chambers. They were a little bit below still, so I didn't load them quite as full as I did on the Remington. With the cylinder, conversion cylinder 45 Colt, this is my reloads. The best of the day was a 2.86 inch group, which isn't stellar, but is, it's not that bad, 15 yards. The HSM, it didn't like, although I did have 3 in this one hole, but it was pretty inconsistent. And this is the Colt silver tip, the Winchester silver tip in the conversion cylinder. So that's definitely not recommended. And you're not really gaining anything, especially for accuracy. So with the Colt, at least, there's a clear, at least in this non-statistically significant evaluation, the best group is clearly with 30 grains of powder, black powder, loose powder and ball, compared to the conversion cylinder, which did not shoot well pretty much in anything with any load I have. So the Remington did pretty much about the same with ball and with the cartridges, at least which I have, which I thought was interesting. And the Remington shoots closer to point of aim. The Colt shoots fairly high with, not very high, but I mean, this is where I was aiming with the powder and ball. And this is where I was aiming with, of course, with the conversion cylinder, and they're much, much higher, 7 or 8 inches high with those cartridges. So hope you enjoyed it. These are fun. Go out and shoot, and leave me a like and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. That helps with the algorithm. And see you next time.